What's up everybody, it is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator. Today we're going to be playing Erzberg, the Iron Giant Enduro by Endometriosis. It is about a 45-minute lap time on the one time I've gone through it so far. It may make my computer lag a little bit, but let's go ahead and try to tackle this track here today as we get the lap underway. I'm going to be playing third person pretty much the whole time. I may switch to first person for a few things, mostly hills, as you can see here, but I am terrible at playing this game in first person, so I apologize in advance those of you that wanted to see this happen all the way through in first person. I can't do it. It would be an hour and 30-minute lap time if I had to play it in first person, so we're just gonna tackle these hills. Oh my gosh, see, this is why I don't play in first person, because I can't tell where the rear of the bike and what's going on, because I was apparently spinning and hit a rock on the way halfway up the hill. Done this track already. Endometriosis did a pretty fabulous job putting this thing together, and I've already played a lap of it, as I said, so not going to be, like, I guess, surprised by anything that we come across, because I've already done it, but yeah, it's pretty challenging, that's for sure. There's a lot of delicate parts of the track that you have to really take your time through, and other parts that are very fast, and you kind of have to almost know the track in advance, I feel, to hit some of those parts. I'm going to crash a lot, as you can tell in this video, but hopefully it's not too bad throughout the majority of the video, and we can actually crank out a pretty decent lap time and a pretty decent video on top of that. You guys always love these enduro track walks. I really actually enjoy doing them too, because it's a nice break from like the standard motocross type videos that I'm always doing, motocross or supercross in this game. You know, it's enduro racing isn't really like a big deal in this game, and we barely have any races at all, but when we do, they are always pretty fun, and I've always enjoyed actually racing them and competing in them. This track is very labor intensive on your computer. As you can see, I have a pretty solid computer, and even I am getting lag issues having the game capture go and having a few windows open so I can see a couple things as well going on in the background, and the map is just gigantic, so it's not going to be the easiest thing for you guys to download and try out for yourself, but if you have a half decent computer, you should be okay enough to actually download it and try it. You'll probably have to turn your graphics down pretty far, and fortunately there's not like a lot of sections on this track where I would say you have to have your graphics like cranked to be able to see them. I tried to leave my graphics as up as I could so that you could see basically everything I was hitting, and you know, it's kind of enjoyable aesthetically to watch, but like I said, there's not like really any sections that it's like, oh my god, it has to be fully seen with high definition graphics all the way cranked out. Like that's definitely not the case with this track. You can totally make it by with your graphics turned down a little ways, and yeah, not very aesthetically pleasing, as I said, but it is a very hard track to conquer, and like I feel like if anybody could do this track without crashing, you're probably pretty talented. I'm not as talented as I used to be, but I don't think even when I was really good at this game I could do a whole lap on this track without crashing. There's too many things in the way, too many little rocks and random situations you find yourself in on this entire track that you feel like you're gonna have to at least crash once. I've already crashed like, what, 4 times, and I would say we're barely scratching the surface of this video. It's gonna be a long one, so strap in, buckle in, whatever you want to do, and try to sit back and enjoy this experience with me. A couple very tricky sections right off the bat. A lot of these little rock gardens are basically just kind of mixed about everywhere at the very beginning of this lap, and so once you kind of make it past this, it opens up a little bit more. You still come across these rock gardens, but they're kind of fewer and farther between. This section is maybe one of the trickiest, because it's like you have to get, oh my god, I'm gonna loop out like 8,000 times. You have to get a really good drive for this hill, because it's looping up to the left, and then right when you get to the top, it like kind of forces you to go hard left, and if you don't, you're not gonna make it. See what I mean? Like, you just kind of bounce across the top there, and you can easily fall back down, as I did 3 or 4 times the first time I tried this hill. maybe not the hugest run up as I had led on to believe, but oh my god, these rocks are killing me. These really tall rocks that he has like standing out and stuck across the side of the track are, I get why they're there, but they're just a tiny bit annoying. I mean, I guess that's what it's supposed to be. It's enduro, it's tough, you have to really hit your lines, hit your marks, but like that, I didn't feel like I was gonna hit it, and it still was there. What are you gonna do? Try to make this lap look a little bit cleaner than I did the first time I played it. Like I said, I've already done one lap, just a one lap, to try to kind of scope out how long this video was gonna take me. I wanted to do this for a while. It's actually a fairly old track now. It was released back in March of this year, so I guess it's about 2.5 months old now at this point, which is not terribly old, but old enough. This is a little turning uphill section right here. I didn't get a good enough drive, I don't think. Nope. Maybe this is the hill I was thinking about. Anyway, so not super old track per se, but you know, noticeably so that I probably could have done it a couple months ago when it came out, but I've been wanting to like play it with a bunch of friends, but I can never get all my friends online at the same time except for the Supercross races, and most of the time they're all just too pissed off after the race to leave and just leave anyway. So decided to sit down and do it myself this time. Yeah, I guess that sucks a little bit because it would have been fun to have everybody get together and do it. See how we would have fared, but I think some people also maybe would have had a little bit of an advantage, like myself, for example, having already done a lap to see how long it was going to be. And then some of my teammates are also better than me at this game now, so they would have obviously had some advantage. Like this section it's tricky, but honestly, comparatively to some other like hard enduro sections that I've come across in this game, this one isn't all that bad, just because like, you'll see later on in the lap, we come across like rock gardens that it's basically just like clutch and throw the bike in a certain direction and hope it works. This one is much more of like if you just can maintain your momentum, you make it through pretty easily. Obviously, I kind of stalled out halfway up the hill there, so we're going to go ahead and try again up this left side. But yeah, as long as you just kind of keep your momentum rolling up these hills, you're usually pretty good. This is going to kill me right here, this stall out. Bounce off this rock and get a little bit of traction. Maybe not. Coming from these dead stops are miserable. I'm also not playing with stop wheelies on. I did play one of my hard enduro tracks in the past with stop wheelies on. It basically helps you out in these situations, but it also kind of hurts you because you can't get as much traction. It's basically traction control, and it doesn't dig in. It just completely chops the throttle if you're gonna like lose traction with the rear wheels. So like in some cases it really helps. In this case it kind of doesn't, just because like you need that tire to keep kind of spinning and get you know, propelled a little bit more forward over these hills. And finally we're making it to the top of this one. All right, so now we're gonna go into this like wooded area. This is kind of breaking out of the quarry section, if you will. It is obviously not an exact replica of the Erzberg Rodeo, but has some rather unique and somewhat comparable features. So this is what I mean, like this rock garden, like the logs plus the rocks combined, I could kind of go around it, but I feel like to emphasize how hard some of this stuff is, I'm gonna roll down the middle of it for the video. I got caught between these rocks here. Come on, back the rear tire down. There we go. I'll kind of roll down in through the mix here. These logs are actually maybe the best shape files that exist in the game. Shape files are basically anything that you can, you know, hit and like bounce off of. A lot of tough blocks have a shape file to them. Obviously all these rocks and logs have shape files. So they're kind of meant that like you can kind of go into them, but you're supposed to like hit them and bounce off. And I think that the logs are maybe like just the best rendition of it in the game, of something that actually works the way it's supposed to. Like the log, like you really actually do have to kind of use the fluidity of your body to kind of hop over them. The rocks are just kind of random, like you could bounce left, right, up, down in a bunch of different directions all at once. When you hit the rocks, the logs, it's pretty standard because it's just an, you know, kind of like a circle that you're going up and off of. So it's a little bit easier to kind of predict, I feel, than at least the rocks are. And like even over under bridges in the game, which is supposed to be flat, shape files in the game are all round. So there's a ton of tiny little round shape files used for over-under bridges in the game, and you can tell when you ride on top of them, like on a supercross track in this game, that they're actually very bumpy, whereas the logs, as I said, in this game are very, smooth, like round. So they work the best. I think the rocks don't work as well, but I don't really mind them. It's like the big chunky rocks that always really kind of annoy me because they just kind of don't work in this game. But I appreciate that Endometriosis included it in this track because it's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be a hard track. You're supposed to do things that are a little bit like uncomfortable and kind of force you to think outside the box to maybe make it through a section. That's kind of what the Erzberg Rodeo is all about, is these really tricky situations that you don't find motorcycle riders having to deal with too often, with really tight mountainous trails. Obviously they have like tons of rock gardens at the actual Erzberg Rodeo that guys get stuck in. They usually put it like pretty close to the finish line, so it's like the last big monument that you have to go through, and each section actually has names for them. So you'll notice I'll come across a couple red signs. I already went by one and I forgot to stop at it, but these red signs that Endo had included on the track here in this one are basically signs that, mark what the section name is. I'm gonna try to do this step up because I didn't do it the first time. A little bit short. I'm not gonna have enough drive to go up this hill though. This hill is a biggin. But as I come across these sections that are named, I will stop at them and point them out as what he has tried to copy or replicate from the actual Erzberg Rodeo in-game. So here we go. This one I think is just going to say slow down. Yeah, so this one says slow down. There's ones later though, like I said, that they say, one of them's like something like Patrick's Pit or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get that wrong. Let's get some traction going. Oh, I just killed all my drive. Do I still have enough? All right, cool. Wasn't that big of a hill right there. So now we're kind of into the more like desert section, which Erzberg doesn't really have, quite honestly. It has like these rock quarries into like a hillside wooded area. So like that whole first two sections that I went through is basically what Erzberg is. This is maybe a little bit outside the box for it, that I think Endometriosis was just trying to do something a little bit like unique to make it a longer race course. But they really don't have like, they do kind of have these cliffs that they ride along, but again, it's kind of more based around the quarry. And then this sign right here that I'm coming up to, it just says, this is the 450 line. If you swing out here and go up this hill, this is taking the 450 route. 250 route is staying on the lower line, and I'm imagining that's because it takes a little bit more horsepower to get up this section of the racetrack. Try to spin around and get angled for this guy right here so I can spin it up the hill. There we go. Alright, not too shabby for the first little 10 or 15 minute bit here. Oh, gonna loop out immediately after I say that, of course. Let me think, what are we working our way down to right now? There's gonna be like a windmill garden back here, a little radio tower station, and then, like I said, a couple more rock gardens that are strewn about this back section a little ways. We're pretty far from the start right now. Like, even if I beelined back over to where I started, it would take me quite a good while to get over there. So basically, like I said, we're just about as far away from the front of the course as we can get once we're on this side of the racetrack. Little kind of hop down the hill sections right here. These are a little fun. Didn't really make the best route down that hill that time, but sometimes you can make some really cool sections. This one is a really sharp drop off and really bumpy too. He made it really kind of technical this way. Dropping down this hill. Ah, man, I tipped out. Front wheel just kind of tucked halfway down that little braking bump. The technical side of MX Simulator is honestly just like a really fun part of the game, because once you get to a certain level, like I've been, where you can hit big tracks really fast, trying to refine your skills by taking on things like this that are a little bit more smaller, a little bit more technical, I feel actually helps you a lot when it comes to playing the game overall, just because you're kind of improving a skill set that you don't really have to deal with that much, like this slow speed stuff where you're just trying to like kind of connect a trail, because most of the time you're obviously playing like racetracks or freestyle compounds or whatever. But alright, so this one's called The Machine, which again I believe is actually a real section at the Erzberg Rodeo, and I would assume it's a rocky uphill. I watch Erzberg every year, but if I'm honest, I don't really review what each section is called very closely. I probably should, because I love watching it. It's very, very interesting to watch. And this past year, I should say, 2018, it was won by Graham Jarvis, who is legendary rider, enduro rider. That's why I hate these big rocks, man. You just can't ride over them. So then I got stuck between them, and it shot me back down the hill. Now we're gonna have to go back up. Let's see if I can avoid them by going up this section. Nope, right back to the same stupid rocks. So back into here so I can get traction and go around them. And we'll go up. Oh, come on. Immediately looped out. And back down the hill we go. So, yeah, Erzberg won by Graham Jarvis this past year. I feel like popular culture-wise, American fans may know it best from it appearing in a Nitro Circus movie, it may have been. It was either that or one of like the Revelations 199 films or something like that. I want to say it was Nitro Circus though, that Travis Pastrana and all of his buddies decided to race the Erzberg Rodeo. Pastrana did it on a RM 120 or 125, RM 250, I believe, and finished, but didn't win. Obviously, the real hardcore enduro guys were all much faster. But I remember seeing it well back then, and obviously they've been doing it for a while. So, you know, it's not just that they gave it the popular fame to the claim there, but it's been around a while. It is basically assumed as the gnarliest enduro race on the planet. Like obviously there's like the 6 days enduro and there's like Romaniacs and other things like that that are all crazy as well. But this one is like kind of sort of dubbed as like it has the most technical parts of courses and things like that guys have to deal with within the race time span, which is, I think it's only like a 2.5 hour race in total. So, you know, it's a very challenging course. Even the best riders in the world sometimes look kind of novice on it because of some of the things that they're required to do. It's fascinating to like load up GoPro videos that Jarvis or Johnny Walker or these guys upload to YouTube and just like dissect what they're doing section after section. Their clutch control, just overall bike control is impeccable. Like it's all crazy to watch and see what they're able to do, because I don't think I could ever envision doing 80% of the things that these guys are able to do when they go and do a race like this. Like they are animals when it comes to technical ability on a motorcycle that I really like. You could put the best motocross riders, the best supercross riders, the best any kind of dirt bike rider in the world up against these guys, and they would blow them out of the water on every little technical section that exists. It's pretty incredible for sure. I'd actually like to see every once in a while, it'd be kind of cool to see these really technical enduro type guys try to race a national or try to race a GP or something like that, because I've seen some of them ride you know, like actual motocross stuff. For example, there's a young Spaniard kid by the name of Joseph Garcia who's also very good in the World Enduro Super Series, but I've seen him ride on a motocross track too, and dude, he is really fast as well. It'd be kind of cool to see kind of what Ryan Sipes does for us American fans, where he kind of does everything. He does the Erzberg, he does the 6-day enduro, he does Daytona Supercross, he does national racing. Like he goes and does it all, really. And it'd be kind of cool to see someone from the European side that is really, really good at this technical stuff actually, you know, race that kind of outdoor series or something like that every once in a while. Obviously, GNCC fans would remember that Caleb Russell raced some nationals, or a national I should say, last year, and rode very well until he crashed. But I don't know, I think that these guys would have a legit shot at least getting some really good points in a national. And I just think it's like my favorite riders are the type of guys that can do everything really well. They're not just like, you know, unicorns at one sport, for example. So I really do like Ryan Sipes, because I feel like he's he's good at it all. And lately I've become a really big fan of Ricky Brabeck, but like my favorite rider in the past couple of years or so was Andrew Short, because you know, he's now racing Dakar. He's done a lot of GNCC stuff. He races Hare and Hounds. He's racing the Work Series this year too. Like, he just goes all across the board, and you can clearly tell he really enjoys riding his dirt bike. So I love that stuff, man. Like, he has found every discipline he can find to try to race in, and that stuff is just really cool to me. Like, just thinking back to, you know, how I enjoy riding and what it was like the first time I started even riding dirt bikes. Like, anything I could hit, jumps or tracks or trails or whatever, like, I wanted to go do. It wasn't always tracks for me. Yes, I'm a huge motocross and supercross fan, but this enduro stuff actually always really enticed me as well, because there's just another facet of the sport that we as fans or riders could go do. And that's what I mean, is like, I just like these guys that go out and really just, they tackle it all. They don't hold back. They want to try everything and anything that comes their way, which is what made me a very big fan of Travis Pastrana at a young age as well. So I'm going to jump off the racetrack here. Because, yeah, I did freestyle, yeah, I did motocross, yeah, I did supercross, but he also did things like this. He also went and did the Erzberg Rodeo. He raced the Baja 1000 one year. Like, he just tackled it all, and that's to me someone who truly enjoys what they're doing and likes, you know, tackling all facets of the sport for the love of it. And that's why I like riders that do that. So it'd be kind of cool, like I said, just see some enduro guys that are on the European side race a GP or something every once in a while. Show their face, and, you know, maybe the World Enduro Super Series, the new series that they've been running, they did it last year. I forgot who won it. Was it Nathan Watson that won it? Or was it, oh no, it was a Husky rider, wasn't it? Oh, this isn't good right here. I'm gonna have to turn around. That has cut a huge part of the track. That's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, this new World Enduro Super Series, or WES as it's been called, has been really cool. Some fans haven't loved it, but I mean, I think it's been a pretty cool addition now, where like guys that are hardcore enduro guys like have a series to race and score points for. And yeah, they had stuff like that before, but it was really kind of more individual events and individual basis that they'd have to, you know, challenge upon. Let me see, how can I get back up this? Golly, this sucks. I didn't want to get stuck off the side of the track. It just like pitched me to the right and down I went. Man, how am I gonna get back up? Just have to like tackle right here. Come on. I know, like, I was basically just gonna go straight ahead and U-turn down this hill, but I don't want to actually skip the track because I'm afraid I'll miss a timing gate. Quit falling over, just stand back up, put your foot down. I have it on like low sticky dabs, so like your foot should go down at like every opportunity. Jesus Christ. Maybe I'll just ride backwards to the spot I was at, because like I said, I know that I was basically just gonna U-turn down this stupid little hill anyway. That's really freaking annoying. Alright, well, we're riding the track backwards now. This section, as you can tell, is gonna be rather tricky, but if I remember right, I think I actually remember like doubling my way through here when I did it the first time. So let's see if I can maybe repeat that feat. Come on, don't jump off the side. My biggest problem with this game in like the last year or so, and people are just so kind to like say that they think I still would have a shot if I showed up and raced nationals or whatever. It's just not true. Like, I just am very uncomfortable with a controller anymore in this game. Like, I used to be really good at just being able to like turn my brain off and connect with the controller, and just anything I did the controller did as well. That has so not been the case like the last a while, maybe a year and a half with this game. Every time I pick it up, I feel like I'm further disconnected from the game. And so like little random twitches like you saw me have a couple times there, it just immediately shoots me off the track because I don't feel like I'm as connected to the bike anymore. So yeah, that sucks a little bit, but live and learn, and maybe I'll get a little bit better at the game eventually. But so far it's been a steady decline, I'll tell you that much. I hate saying that too, because I know that there's people out there watching this video that maybe aren't as good as I am anyway right now. And trust me, you'll get better. Like, it's not... Oh, crap. It's not like a stalling process. Sometimes you can plateau and feel like you're not going anywhere in this game. Like, it's gonna just be an uphill climb forever to get where you want to be playing-wise in this game. But, I mean, I had ups and downs quite a bit playing this game. I started playing in late 2011, and it took me a long time to get fast, and then once I was fast, it took a long time for me to get really fast, to like race-winning speed fast, but I eventually got there, and you know, slowly my progression went down, but then I got fast again. Like, I basically stopped playing the game in 2014, played it, you know, pretty decently so in mid to late 2015, 2016, came back and raced a full outdoor season and raced a full indoor season in 2017 and finished really well in the championships then. So like I said, like, you can have this time off, come back and still progress in the game, but for my sake, it's just not been working out. Probably because I don't play it as consistently. Like, I only pick it up maybe once or twice a week, and I'm playing a lot of other games nowadays as well to try to, you know, satisfy that kind of whistle for the fans of the channel that love the other stuff. I still love Sim, I still love picking it up and playing it, and I have a good time, but it is a little less fun these days because I'm not as good as I was, and it's kind of aggravating knowing I have the potential to ride better and not riding better, that's for sure. But we'll get there someday. Maybe again before long. Alright, so where I'm at on the racetrack right now, because I kind of did a walkthrough of that back section, is we're kind of like back in the wooded area. We're going to go through another rock garden up here in just a moment, which I believe has a name to it as well, so I'll try to stop and take a look at the naming of it. And then we're going to kind of weave back into the forest again, go through some really tricky trails back there, and I think there's only actually one major section after this one we have to go through, and then we're done. I think I may be able to still salvage this lap under 45 minutes. If I can just make it through this section semi-cleanly. I don't think this actually has a name to it. It's just a little saucy rock garden dug into the valley over here. Ah, come on. I just feel like trying to make it through these little rock gardens, it's more about finding a line where the rocks aren't. Like right here, just weaving up through here. That's your best bet, honestly. Like, trying to challenge the rocks and go over them repeatedly is just, it never seems to work. You just get hung up really bad on them. Back it up, back it up. Am I stuck in the fence or am I stuck on the rock? What is taking so long to back up? So you want to try to find areas of the track that those rocks aren't, so you can kind of skip across them. Yes, you can just go straight over them, of course. I'm not saying you can't, but... Oh my god, this one little rock garden I'm getting completely stuck in right now. Are you kidding me? Just plow through it. There we go. Throttle control, baby. Use it. Use it before you lose it. Little tiny rock garden here, and back up into the forest section we shall go again. Into the enchanted forest, created here by endometriosis. This section's actually very fun, in my opinion, because it has some pretty good flow to it. He made the trails kind of weave in and out of the hills really nicely. You go pretty far back here, and it feels like you're just kind of weaving your way into these, like, wooded sections pretty deep, and then eventually you kind of settle in, and there's a kind of a tree slash rock garden mixed in. But overall, very fun part of the track. Maybe one of my favorites, just because of how the trail and it all kind of flows together. Some kind of fun things to do back here. A little front flip for action. Didn't actually mean to do that, but got kicked and might as well pull it together and do it. Front flips are by far like the easiest thing to do in this game without trying. You could just kind of like get kicked bad once and you just grab both your brakes and keep trying to tumble, and most of the time you can make them around if you catch on to what's happening early enough. But sometimes you do also make big mistakes and just end up flat landing on the top of your head, like I've done so several times in my national career in this game. And those are always super aggravating too, because you're like, oh my god, I just put in all this stupid work, made it all the way up to like P8, and I'm back to 22nd because I got kicked and landed on the top of my head. Let's jump across the canyon. Oh, a little deep. Yep. Looks like that was kind of meant to be like an on-off section, huh? And then land basically where I'm laying right here. Man, if I had more time to sit down, really put this track together, be some sweet sections you could connect here in these little back areas, jumping from kind of area to area. Be super fun for sure. Honestly, some of the spots I don't even remember at this point. I don't really remember going back here, but obviously I had to because I had a lap time scored. That was why at the beginning of the video I did a little pause before I left the gate, because you actually cross the line and go right immediately onto lap 2. So like the first lap, because it never counts for lap time, he just puts you right on lap 2. So the next time I go through the timing gates down by where we started, it'll actually count my lap time, and hopefully it worked out decently enough to end up with a better lap than I initially did. Like I said, I think I did a 45:48 as my initial practice lap. So if I do a practice lap better than my video lap, then, well, that's just terrible. Yeah, front end. Alright, so coming up next, like I said, there's like a tree/rock garden that we're coming through here. Actually, is this the challenging section I'm talking about? I don't think it is. I think that it's a little bit closer to the end. Or is it? Oh, you know what? This may very well be it. Yep, this is it. This is the exact one I was talking about. Okay, so this thing is called Karl's Diner, and yeah, of course, that is also a name for something at the actual Erzberg Rodeo. This is just rock/log garden. This is what I had been talking about all the way up through the video, that it just is like, go a certain direction, clutch it, and lean back and just hope you get decent pop off of it to do something fun. There's not really any good strategy I can tell you about right here. In some situations, standing up is a little bit better. In some situations, sitting down is a little bit better. Just as a general reference point, your rider's a little bit more stable if you're sitting down. So, you know, use that to your advantage if you can, because there's a lot of spots in this rock garden where you might get unstable. But standing up also sets you up better to actually hit things, because your legs will absorb things a little bit better. I mean, really, honestly, it's kind of like how you probably would do in real life, like when you need to like recenter yourself on the bike or something like that. You probably sit down and kind of gather yourself. When you're attempting to go over logs or over rocks, you probably want to be standing. So it does kind of work a little bit realistically. So kind of working my way towards the edge here, because he put it like on the side of this hill. And I don't really want to kind of fake skip it over here, but you really can just kind of weasel around it a little bit. I'll work my way back into the center. It's these little tiny rocks, man. They just dig into your rear tire, and then you're just like, what the heck? Why does he keep going left? Like, go right. Like, why can't it just hook and go right once? It keeps going left. This is just so many logs right here at the end. And of course I fall off. I'm right at the end. Let me go. Oh my gosh. I don't think anybody could make it through that cleanly, one go, like fast. Like where you're actually kind of rolling across the logs and rocks smoothly. Like a lot of it has to do with throttle control, because the second I start going wide open like I am right here, you have situations like that where you can loop out quite a bit easier, but also you just don't have the same type of like grip that you would have on top of the logs. Alright, so we made it out of Karl's Diner. So throttle control works really well in those rock gardens, rock/log gardens, like that one at Karl's Diner. Really, throttle control all over these enduro tracks works well, but particularly there, just because, like I said, it keeps the momentum of the machine going without really substituting power out of the bike. Holding it wide open is going to be your best bet to get unstuck, but throttle control when you're actually on the move is really key. Kind of chopping the throttle a lot like you've been hearing me do sometimes. You'll see even the accelerator bar doing a little bit of dancing back and forth. So, got about 10 minutes left to go to try to make it to the finish line. Knowing where I am, I think it's actually going to be a lot closer than I expected. I was thinking I would end up closer to 40 minutes, just knowing the track and where I was going and crashing less. But I think because I know where I'm going, I've actually crashed a few more times. And obviously we got stuck on that hillside once, so that didn't help. But yeah, it's not terrible yet. But this last section here, it's pretty tame. There's a couple of key sections, like right here, this sign says slow down, is because we're coming down a pretty steep downgrade right here. Yeah. But if I can make it through a couple of these downhills without crashing, make it through, I think there's one more rock garden to go, and I should be a-okay. And, oh, this is that rock garden I was talking about. Jumping right into it. Really thought that that was going to be a rolling hill, ended up being basically a cliff. And really, if I was on it, I pretty much could have jumped the entire rock garden, because I could have just landed down over here. Come on, don't get stuck like this. Oh my god, go, 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 go. Alright, here we are. Kind of making it back over to touch a little bit of the desert section. And we're going to weave our way back through some of these areas. Alright, so down into here. Yes, this section. This one doesn't have a name to it, but a little bit of underwater action. You can kind of just skip through here. You can't really even see the rocks, but there appear to be rocks in there. They keep running over like invisible shape files underwater. And we're going to go ahead and try to hop over this guy. There we go. Damn it. Stupid rock right there at the end got me last time too. Turn around, get off that log. There we are. Let's try to get a run up this hill. Got kicked forward. Alright, somehow still landed that. Alright, well. Somehow I feel that one took me a little bit longer the first time I did it, so this time it wasn't as bad. I feel like it's all going the way I'd hoped here towards the end. Maybe, maybe not, we'll find out. Work our way up to the back here, and then you can see we're going to go up on that ridgeline ahead of me. So just get the power down and continue down this hill here. And then there's like a split section here. I don't really get what the difference is. I went right the first time, so I'll go left this time. I'm guessing that this is just an easier way to get like a drive up this step hill right here. Up. And then we go up this guy, which I don't believe is very steep. Yep, just ends up right here. Now we're gonna go along this ridge line. Let's try to keep it steady so I don't fall. So I want to try to beat my time. Want to beat it, want to beat it. Oh, little kick there. Flatter section. Running right along this wall like that, your bar can just clip and you're immediately stuck against the wall. Kind of what happened a little bit right there, but we worked it out. Doing a little bit of weaving back and forth to keep my momentum going, so this is slowed down. That's because we're coming down a very steep downhill once again. So if I can keep my momentum flowing through here. Kind of skip over some of the rocks. Yeah, so this is the last little bit right here. I think I just have to make it through this rock section and then it loops back around to the start. And the first time I played this track, I cleared the tabletop that jumps back into the quarry like perfectly. Like, I don't think I'll ever do that again, but I'm gonna try in this video just for the fun of it. A little bit of a kind of muddy-ish type section right here into a little bit of a water section right here at the end. Oh, come on, how's that a fall off? And I'm drowning. Go, 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 go. Come on, why did I have to get stuck in the mud right here? come on. We're out of the mud, go. Out of the mud traction, go. A little bit of rock action up here on the top of the hill. Weave our way through that. Go on this guy. Alright, and a couple more little rocks, but we're coming down to the finish line, and I'm just gonna miss out on that 40-minute mark. I was really close to making it back in time. Just couldn't quite get it. I know that this rock caught me out last time right here, so I can avoid that. Kind of take it easy down this hill here so I don't hit anything I don't want to. Kind of jump our way through here. Alright. Bang, bang, boom. Oh, that's a big one. Weave back and forth. Come down in. And go around that rock one last time. See if I can get the tabletop. I'm gonna go a little bit long. See if I can land it. Nice. All right, what's the lap time? 39.3. Oh, baby. Woo! What a lap. Well, got pretty close to that 40-minute mark. Can't believe one freaking lap time in this game can go up to 40 minutes. Obviously, it goes right off the pit board because it's so dang long, but man, oh man, we made it. Oof. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. That was a pretty fun track walk on the Erzberg, the Iron Giant Enduro, Erzberg Rodeo by Endometriosis on the forums. Be sure to download it in the description below to try it out for yourself. Definitely would recommend trying to beat my time, as I'm sure most of you guys will be able to. But that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys again so much for joining me here on the channel. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And for Kellen here on Start Your Systems, I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.